Woveo is a fintech company that provides cooperative savings and credit, mainly to newcomers to enable them to access low-cost credit. So Woveo was inspired by our lived experiences as co-founders of the company. The company was co-founded by immigrants to Canada. My other co-founders are from Colombia and Kenya, and we all went through this similar experience of the difficulty in accessing credit. I still remember having an emergency and then going to the bank and I couldn't get access to credit. And then my only options were either high interest lenders or payday lenders to be able to access short-term credit. And then for me, this system was not built to be able to support my ambitions and goals. As an immigrant, you're taking a big risk, moving from one country into another country with the vision of actually supporting not only yourself, but then the people that you have left behind. I still remember trying to start my first business. It was almost impossible to be able to access credit as a newcomer to Canada. But then those are the things that we need to be able to get to the next stage, to be able to provide our innovative thinking and actually provide solutions within the ecosystem. So out of curiosity, for me, it was why save with a financial institution that you can't borrow from? And that's why I was inspired by the story of community banks, by the story of credit unions, and we wanted to make that system more accessible to any community by revolutionizing and transforming it into community wallets for any community. The main goal of Woveo is to enhance access to low-cost credit for newcomers. There are 9 million Canadians who have credit scores under 720, who are considered to be non-prime, and majority of those Canadians are newcomers to the country. It typically takes 3 to 5 years to build a credit profile, which makes it extremely hard to be able to access credit. So for us, what we want to do is use cooperative savings and credit to reduce the credit risk and actually lower the cost of borrowing for newcomers to Canada. I like to consider Woveo as a digital version of a credit union in terms of how credit union works. And we are enabling immigrant communities to establish their own digital credit unions to leverage their own savings to work for them. So a community is an affinity-based group. So that could range from friends and family all the way to community organizations, to cooperatives, to even companies, right? So it's anywhere you find like-minded people who are willing to share their resources for the betterment of the members within that community. So how we partner with communities is we provide a community wallet, and then they're able to invite all their members. And then from a community, people can be able to create groups. Groups are typically 10 to 20 people, and then they're pulling in a fixed amount every month to this pool, and then that amount is being accessed by one member as a lump sum from the group. So you're actually accessing those pooled savings as a credit to one member, and it's interest-free. You don't have to pay any interest because it's the community's capital. And then that way, people are actually able to use that lump sum to be able to make large, to be able to purchase large ticket items that they couldn't afford by themselves. And then this is an alternative to either going to a payday loan or using a credit card, which will charge you high interest fees in the long run. We are seeing people and communities on the platform using those funds to be able to start businesses, right? So if we have entrepreneurship program, this could be a credit readiness program to be able to support entrepreneurs within that community or within a certain province or city. It could also be focused on enabling newcomers to be able to around settlement, right? People are coming in, they're looking for housing, they're looking for different services. And then actually a big barrier for newcomers is education. They want to be able to reskill and then access better careers, and then that requires capital to be able to do that. They're able to leverage this whole ecosystem to be able to do that. So we are a stepping stone enabling people to achieve their goals that they have, and then Woveo is just part of that equation. So with the key features for Woveo, we're really focused on cooperative savings and credit. So we have two main functionalities on the platform. One is the credit side, and then the other one is the savings. On the savings side, we enable people to be able to pool funds within their communities and then groups, and then you can be able to access credit through that process. And then through those processes and through those repayment behaviors, we're able to help you build credit. And then what we do is we have partnered with Equifax to be able to report those repayment behaviors. So if you're paying on time, those transactions are helping you build credit, and you're able to access credit utilizing a group savings model. You're also able to monitor your credit score on the platform. So there's an element of financial education whereby newcomers are coming to Canada. Credit systems, for some of them, it's new, and then really we're helping them understand what is credit, what factors makes up their credit score, and then how can they be able to build their credit to be able to access services in the future. So we also provide cash advances. So in the case of where you have an emergency, you're able to access up to $250 for emergency funding through Woveo. And then we also provide a default protection. So if you're participating in a group savings and one member defaults, we provide a protection to be able to ensure that every member is getting access to their funds. So the effectiveness of Woveo's service is really focused on providing access to credit and actually lowering the cost of borrowing. And how we're able to do that is really mainly in three ways. One, how can we be able to help people build credit in a savings-driven way, whereby they're actually avoiding high interest fees and predatory lenders. That's the first one. The second one is actually around the cost of credit. Our goal is to be able to reduce the cost of credit so that people can actually use their disposable income for other things and then build assets in Canada. And then the last piece around the effectiveness of the program, this is a cultural practice that most newcomers are aware of. This system globally is actually practiced by 1.1 billion people, but then mainly in developing nations. It's known by different names, but it's the same practice of rotating savings and credit systems. And for people from the Philippines, they call them paliwagons. For people from Nigeria, they call them susus. For people from South Africa, they call them Stockvels. It's a system that is commonly practiced by a lot of people as an alternative to the mainstream banking ecosystem, really focused on how can we use our savings work for us. So what makes the Woveo system efficient is really it's a community's capital. So there are no third parties involved, and what that does is actually reducing the cost of borrowing. And then what you're doing there is actually enabling people to be able to access credit in a much more sustainable way. And then the second thing is really around the social collateral. Within the Woveo system, we see a higher repayment rate than the traditional system. And then the biggest thing is there's social collateral and accountability among members. So if I'm doing something with someone that I know, someone that I care about, we usually call it there's a face behind the loan. If I'm working with a bank, if I default, yes, it's going to affect my credit score, but that's it. But then in this system, there's more collateral and then there's more incentive to repay, which makes the system more efficient because one, the credit risk is lower, but then two, they're actually building better credit scores over time. Our main objective is not actually to just help people build credit with those transactions. Our goal is to use those transactions as alternative data that we can start partnering directly with credit unions and banks and start actually providing access to credit to those members. So we can actually have a direct relationship because we understand a different credit risk profile, and we're also providing alternative data that actually favor these individuals. Our key partners in developing this program, so one, we have credit bureaus, whereby we are reporting that data to them to help newcomers build credit, but then also we are collecting data from them in terms of credit scores to actually educate our members to understand how the credit scores work. The second piece is we do work with payments and banks because we are a fintech company, we're a financial technology company, so we work with payment companies to be able to provide those services within our platform. And then the last one is we do work with credit unions. So our main focus is creating partnerships with credit unions to be able to provide them a new customer base, but then that is credit worthy and then actually enable newcomers to access credit from credit unions at a much more affordable price.
So we start with a few members, to be honest. We were just creating onboarding sessions for 10 members. But now we are talking about communities that potentially have thousands of members. Right now we are onboarding 300 at a time. So the uptake is really great. We see our numbers growing and growing. And also we're seeing how this effect of people that it's already on the platform, it's growing their own communities. So they came probably because of newcomer association, but then they find a right fit for their college, for their job, for so on. So I'm really proud how Woveo it's turning to a flag for them to help other people. So definitely now we are talking about thousands of members. It's not only us, the ones that are working getting more members, but the members itself are the ones that are helping us. We started in PEI, really small place. So our first client were from PEI, and then we got some from Toronto, Ontario. It was our first aha moment when we say, oh, we're out of the island. Once we moved to Calgary, everything changed. Right now we serve members from every province. We have groups and people transacting together from British Columbia and Quebec. So that's great. We have people there. But I will say that something that it's really exciting for us is people outside of Canada that it's asking us for this tool. They're saying, oh, I'll be there probably in 8 months, 1 year. I'm about to immigrate to Canada. How can I be part of your product? They know they're going to be a newcomer. They know they need to fit in a system, and they already resonated with Woveo because they know how a Rosca model works. Now working with so many partners, we're talking about Equifax, Pay, we have credit unions, we have even talked with banks. So what we see and what we experience, it's they are trying to understand. They are changing their protocols. We are really excited that almost every partner right now have assigned a new person in their business to fit our product. So we have been iterating together. We are being the first client for many of our partners' products. We're talking about new ways to connect our system to banks. So for us and working with partners, it's been great because they have been really cooperative on letting us into their systems and making these allowances to get those people that usually doesn't fit on the models of the bank in their system. One key insight from our product itself of the transaction from the users is that we see people repaying their payouts. They are repaying their groups, which is great. We're talking about thousands of transactions per month. We're talking about hundreds of dollars transacting every month on specific communities, and the people is paying back the whole thing. Our key part of our success, it's been first this human approach. We ask them, what's happening with you? What's the problem? What's keeping you to getting that result? So do you struggle? How we can help? And then we have a whole system that is supporting friends. So friends are supporting friends. For us, it's really important to keep that social component because you are building trust with people that you already know. So in that terms, you are building towards helping your neighbor because you know they need to pay the tuition for the child. So you know that's important for you to pay that contribution because you are helping the purpose for everybody. One thing that is really important for us is hearing back from our members. So it's awesome when we hear that they complete their down payment, they pay their tuition. We know that many of our users and members are there working, getting money for their businesses. They are paying back their mortgages, they are paying their cards, their bills, they're getting out of debt. So this is for us the celebration moment. It's like we build this together, but this is actually them helping themselves.
With Woveo, everything starts at the core with the community. So we would be approached by, let's say, an organization that is interested in providing financial literacy to their community. This could be either in the more rural or metropolitan areas, but essentially they want to communicate education to their members. Woveo, in that sense, would step in as a tool to enhance this education component. The whole Women's Network out of Ontario is an organization that we are very proud of, and we supported them because they're a women's support organization, and they primarily support their members through financial support, but equally with coaching, mentorship, and also with counseling services, not only to their members, but the family as well. So we stepped in as a financial literacy partner, one, enhancing the education that they provide, but secondly, acting as an economic development tool for the organization itself. This worked in two ways. They had savings programs that they were running usually, where they would reward people for having those good savings habits, and with Woveo, you're able to digitally track whenever people save together, but equally you can create milestones and reward people whenever they hit those milestones. And on the other side of it, they had community members who every so often might be in need of emergency capital or emergency credit. And so we set up a rotating savings and credit groups for them so that members can essentially, one, access affordable credit when they need it, but secondly, have emergency credit available when those emergencies hit, and it's not detrimental to their credit or to their financial position, but it's all entirely driven by the community. We wanted to empower the entire organization to economically participate in the lives or the economic lives of their members. And so with these savings groups, when the money was amassed, the community itself went out and bought distribution rights to one of the members' businesses. And so now you have business in your community where the investors are the community themselves, and the expansion benefits not only you as the entrepreneur, but the community at large, because they benefit from the profits. It really galvanized everyone around seeing the success of this business and this lady herself. And so that was something we're very proud of, because essentially it was the first time we were seeing a community actively investing in a business for the future prosperity of not only the business, but equally it's tied to the community. So we are also in the works with one other organization out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. And what we're trying to do is a youth financial literacy program, and really emphasizing it on high school students going into university, and how are you better preparing candidates for that life journey when they leave home for the first time and have to budget and have to deal with own personal expenses. And so on top of everything that you have to deal with when you do leave home, equally is the understanding of how your personal finances work. And so educating them on the action of saving every month or every so frequently that allows you to build that personal cushion that you can rely on and can build your financial security. I would say the future of Woveo comes back to community at the end of the day. And in a sense, the future of that is being able to turn some of the decision-making powers as far as the allocation of capital back to communities themselves. And this means that economic development at a community grassroots level will actually be driven by people in the community that are best positioned to make those decisions in the sense of the outcomes. A lot of discussions happen around creditworthiness and who should be given what, but the underlying considerations being made for those decisions, do they hold economic development at the core of their focus? And so with Woveo, what we've been able to do is balance not only the economic outcome, but equally the social benefit that members would receive. As we grow and as we scale and as we enhance these services, then we want to put more tools in front of community leaders to make these decisions in the most efficient way possible, not only for the benefit of the community, because it will benefit them, but for members themselves. And in this way, maybe even change some discussions around how we look at allocation of massive amounts of capital or even resources, and in different ways. When it comes to human settlement or human resettlement, we're looking at different aspects of resettling of someone's life when it comes to resettling. What Woveo is able to do is really focus not only on that financial component that is really a challenge for a lot of immigrants. Like, fundamentally, it's been a challenge for a long time, but it continues to be a challenge. But we're not only able to improve financial outcomes for immigrants, we're able to improve the outcomes for the community at large. And in a sense, what we're touching on is how do you engage with the community around, yes, understanding their finances, but also their education challenges, their health challenges, honestly, relationship challenges, because all these things tie into your finances. And to settlement agencies, Woveo acts as a good incentive because it does have that financial component tied to it. So what we would champion is that when settlement agencies are looking at how can we best settle a new immigrant into the country, look at it from that holistic view of tools that can apply to each field. On one sense, yes, let's find a way to give you housing. Let's find a way to give you a bank account, but let's find a way to successfully set you up for the long-term success in Canada. And this is to say a lot of very amazing work has been done, but yeah, there's room for improvement, and that's where we always want to shine.
So our goal is to be able to partner with organizations that serve newcomers to Canada, and then with the goal of providing a sustainable financial ecosystem that newcomers can be able to leverage. We're focusing on financial education. We're also focusing on lowering the cost of access to credit, and then really how can we enable communities to be able to build wealth whilst they're in Canada, whether it's from entrepreneurship, whether it's education. It's kind of how can we create a system that actually allows newcomers to be able to be sustainable and actually thrive within Canada. So join us in our mission to reimagine how newcomers settle in Canada. Join us in reimagining how we can enable newcomers to actually thrive in Canada and achieve their dreams that they came here to do.